It's amazing what can happen in your life when you decide that you're no longer going to leave your future to chance. Most people hope things will change. They hope they'll get a better job. They hope they'll get healthier. They hope their relationships will improve. But hope alone is not a strategy. Change comes when you take consistent, disciplined actions toward what you want day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the bridge between the life you dream about and the life you actually live. Without it, dreams remain ideas floating in your mind, never becoming reality. But with it, even the smallest steps can compound into extraordinary achievements. You don't have to do everything perfectly, but you do have to do something consistently. Here's the truth: the habits you practice in private will eventually show up in public. If you work on yourself when no one's watching, your results will speak for you. If you choose to be disciplined with your time, your money, your health, and your learning, the rewards will follow. Discipline isn't punishment. It's a form of self-respect. It's telling yourself, I deserve a better life, and I'm willing to do what it takes to create it. Every disciplined action sets off a chain reaction. Skip a day, and you may not feel the impact immediately, but over time, the gap between discipline and neglect becomes a canyon. On the other hand, commit to even one small positive action each day, reading a few pages, saving a little money, exercising for a few minutes, and watch how those small wins begin to stack up. So the question is, are you willing to do what's necessary today so that tomorrow you can live the life you've been imagining? Because life will always give you one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, and without it, the distance between where you are and where you want to be remains nothing more than a dream in your mind. Goals are important. They give you a vision, a target to aim at, a sense of purpose that pulls you forward, but without disciplined action, they are like seeds left on a table instead of being planted in the soil. You can talk about them, think about them, visualize them, but unless you take consistent steps toward them, they never grow into anything real. Discipline is that daily decision to move, even when you're tired, even when you're not in the mood, even when the circumstances around you aren't perfect. It's the ability to stick to a plan when the excitement has worn off and all that's left is the grind. Everyone loves the idea of success. Few are willing to endure the process it takes to achieve it. And that process is paved with discipline. When you set a goal, the excitement is high. You can see the end result in your mind so clearly that it almost feels real. You imagine the rewards, the freedom, the recognition, the satisfaction. But then reality sets in. The early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the rejection, the setbacks, they all start to test your resolve. And it's in those moments that discipline becomes the determining factor. Will you still make the call when no one's picking up? Will you still go to the gym when it's raining outside? Will you still put in the extra work when no one's there to cheer you on? Discipline says yes when convenience says no. Discipline says get up when comfort says stay in bed. Discipline says keep going when your feelings say stop. You can have the best intentions in the world, but intentions without discipline lead to nothing but disappointment. Think about the number of people who start something with energy and enthusiasm only to quit halfway. They had goals, just like you. They had dreams, just like you. But somewhere along the way, they let their emotions override their commitments. Discipline is the guard that stands between you and that kind of failure. It doesn't depend on how you feel, it depends on what you've decided. And that's why discipline works, because it takes the pressure off your emotions and puts the focus on your actions. When you're disciplined, you don't have to wake up every day deciding whether or not you're going to work toward your goal. The decision has already been made, now you just follow through. Discipline also has a compounding effect. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself. That trust is powerful because it becomes part of your identity. You start to see yourself as the kind of person who follows through, who gets things done, who keeps promises to others and to yourself. And when that identity gets stronger, it becomes even easier to act in alignment with it. On the other hand, every time you break a commitment to yourself, you weaken that trust, making it harder to believe in your own word. That's why discipline isn't just about doing the work. It's about building the belief that you can rely on yourself. A disciplined life isn't necessarily an easy life, but it's a life that moves forward. Every disciplined action brings you closer to the bridge's other side, accomplishment. And each step across that bridge reinforces the truth that discipline works. It may not give you instant results, but it guarantees eventual results if you keep applying it. The problem is, most people get impatient. They want the outcome without the process, the reward without the sacrifice, the finish line without the miles in between. But accomplishment is reserved for those willing to endure the miles, one disciplined step at a time. Think about a bridge. It's made up of pieces, pillars, beams, cables, all working together to support the weight of whatever crosses it. Discipline is the same way. It's made up of small daily decisions that hold the weight of your ambitions. Miss one day, and the bridge is still there. Miss many days, and you start removing pieces until one day the bridge collapses and you find yourself stuck on the side of intention, staring across at the side of accomplishment, wondering why you can't get there. The good news is, you can always start rebuilding, but it will take even more discipline to make up for lost time. Discipline is also a filter. It forces you to focus on what matters. When you're disciplined, you stop chasing every distraction, every shiny opportunity that takes you away from your main goal. You learn to say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. You understand that every moment spent on something that doesn't bring you closer to your goal is a moment taken away from what truly matters. This clarity makes discipline easier because you're not wasting your energy on 100 different things. You're channeling it into the few things that actually make a difference. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year with disciplined actions. One disciplined day might feel small, but string together 365 of them, and your life will be unrecognizable. That's the magic of the bridge. Every day you step on it, you move forward, even if it's just an inch. And over time, those inches turn into miles. The truth is, discipline is a choice you make over and over again. You don't become disciplined once and for all. You choose it in every decision, in every temptation to quit, in every opportunity to take the easy way out. The more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the easier it is to reach your goals. Because now you're not just someone with dreams, you're someone with the power to turn them into reality. Small, consistent actions create massive long-term results because success is rarely built in sudden leaps. It's almost always the product of steady, repeated effort over time. A single workout doesn't make you fit, just like one healthy meal doesn't transform your body. But commit to exercising regularly, eating well every day, and over months and years, the transformation becomes undeniable. The same principle applies to every area of life: finances, relationships, personal growth, business. One small action might seem insignificant on its own, but when those actions are stacked together day after day, they create momentum that becomes impossible to ignore. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because they're looking for big, dramatic changes. They want the quick fix, the overnight success, the instant breakthrough. But life rewards the steady worker, the person willing to invest in small daily disciplines without constantly demanding immediate proof of progress. Like a seed planted in the ground, your actions might not seem to produce anything at first. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is building, and eventually, What you've been nurturing will break through into visible results. Consistency also builds habits, and habits determine your destiny. If you read a few pages of a good book every day, you'll finish dozens of books in a year without ever feeling overwhelmed. If you save a small percentage of your income each month, over the years you'll build a financial foundation that gives you security and freedom. If you dedicate just a little time each day to improving your skills, in a few years you'll be far ahead of those who relied on bursts of effort followed by long periods of inactivity. The compounding effect of small actions is like interest on money. Given enough time, it multiplies into something much greater than you imagined. The beauty of small, consistent actions is that they are manageable. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one giant move. You just have to take the next right step, today, and then do it again tomorrow. Over time, those steps add up to a distance you could never have covered in one leap. It's less about intensity and more about persistence. Anyone can work hard for a short period. Few can keep going day after day without seeing immediate rewards. But those who do are the ones who eventually achieve the extraordinary. Because small actions, done consistently, create a rhythm of progress that doesn't depend on motivation or mood. It becomes a way of life. The habits you practice in private will show in public because what you do when no one is watching determines the quality of what everyone eventually sees. Success is not built in the spotlight. It's built in the quiet hours when you're alone, making choices that either strengthen your character or weaken it. If you cut corners when no one's paying attention, those shortcuts will reveal themselves in the results you produce. On the other hand, if you put in the extra effort, refine your skills, and stay committed to your standards even when there's no audience, that invisible work will eventually shine through in ways you can't hide. In every field, sports, business, art, leadership, the people who rise to the top are those who treat private preparation with the same seriousness as a public performance. An athlete doesn't win championships on game day. They win them in the lonely early mornings, in the weight room, in the practice drills no one claps for. A speaker doesn't captivate a crowd just because they have a natural gift. They captivate because they've rehearsed, studied, and fine-tuned their delivery long before stepping on stage. Private discipline lays the foundation for public excellence. The truth is, life has a way of testing whether you've done your homework. When an opportunity arrives, it's too late to start preparing. You either have the skills or you don't. And those skills are built in the hidden hours. Every habit, every decision, every choice you make in private is like putting a brick in the structure of your future. The stronger and more intentional you are in laying those bricks, the more stable and impressive the finished building will be. People sometimes wonder why others seem to get lucky, as if opportunities just fall into their lap. But luck often comes from being prepared in private for the moment when the public stage opens. If you're ready, you can step forward with confidence. If you're not, the moment passes you by. The preparation you do in solitude is like storing up energy, skill, and credibility for the day when it's needed most. Private habits also shape your character, and character is impossible to fake in the long run. You might impress people for a while with surface appearances, but sooner or later, your true habits and disciplines will be revealed. Integrity, excellence, and reliability are built behind closed doors. The way you manage your time, the way you keep your commitments to yourself, the way you push beyond comfort when no one's looking, all of it eventually becomes visible in your performance, your relationships, and your reputation. When you treat the unseen hours with respect, the seen moments take care of themselves. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons, because the effort it takes to stay disciplined in the moment is always lighter than the burden you carry when you realize you didn't do what you could have done. The weight of discipline is temporary. It's the small discomfort of waking up early, saying no to unhealthy choices, studying instead of wasting time, making the extra phone call, saving instead of spending. These are minor inconveniences that pass quickly, but they lead to progress and a sense of pride that stays with you. Regret, on the other hand, is heavy because it lingers. It's the realization that you had the chance, you had the time, and you had the ability, but you didn't act. That kind of weight doesn't go away easily. In the moment, neglect feels easier. Choosing comfort over effort feels like relief. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, and for now, you avoid the little bit of pain that discipline requires. But when enough tomorrows pass, you wake up to see how far you've drifted from your goals. The things you could have built are left unfinished. The opportunities you could have seized have slipped away, and the person you could have become is only a thought in your mind. That's when the tonnage of regret settles in. And it's far heavier than the small ounce of discipline would have been. Every disciplined choice you make is like lifting a small weight. It might be uncomfortable at first, but over time you get stronger, and the effort becomes easier. Every undisciplined choice is like adding a stone to a backpack you have to carry for years. One or two might not feel like much, but keep adding them, and eventually you can barely move forward. Discipline frees you from that burden because it keeps your load light. It's the daily price you pay for a life without heavy regret. The tricky thing is that discipline's rewards are delayed, while regret's pain is delayed too. In the moment, you don't feel the benefit of reading one more chapter, making one more sales call, or practicing for one more hour. Just like in the moment, you don't feel the pain of skipping it. But time has a way of magnifying both. Discipline multiplies into success, confidence, and freedom, while neglect multiplies into disappointment, frustration, and lost potential. The ounce grows into a treasure. The ton becomes a chain. When you choose discipline, you're choosing the lighter. Wait now so you don't have to carry the crushing load later. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Even a little bit of discipline, applied daily, can save you from the mountains of regret that come from doing nothing when you had the chance. The question you face in every moment is simple. Which weight do you want to carry? Self-discipline is the highest form of self-respect because it's a declaration to yourself that you value your life enough to take control of it. It's saying, I am worthy of my best effort, and I refuse to settle for less than I'm capable of. When you are disciplined, you're not just chasing results. You're proving to yourself that you can trust your own word. Every time you keep a promise you've made to yourself, you strengthen that trust. And trust in yourself is one of the most powerful assets you can have because it builds confidence, focus, and resilience. People often think self-respect comes from achievements or recognition, but the truth is, it starts with the choices you make when no one else is around to see them. When you choose discipline over distraction, action over procrastination, and consistency over excuses, you're sending yourself the message that your goals and dreams are worth protecting. This builds a quiet pride that no one can take away from you because it's earned, not given. Discipline is also a form of self-care. It's protecting your future from the consequences of poor decisions today. It's saying no to the easy road now so you can take the better road later. It's waking up early to work on your vision, choosing healthy habits to care for your body, setting boundaries to protect your energy, and investing time into learning and growth so you can become more valuable to yourself and others. These are not acts of punishment. They are acts of respect for the life you're building. Without self-discipline, it's easy to drift. You might still have dreams and desires, but without the structure and control that discipline provides, life pulls you in directions that don't serve you. The result is frustration, not because you aren't capable, but because you haven't held yourself to the standard you know you deserve. Discipline closes the gap between your potential and your reality, and living closer to your potential is one of the greatest forms of self-respect you can experience. When you have self-discipline, you don't need to rely on constant motivation. You don't wait for the perfect conditions, and you don't depend on other people to push you. You take responsibility for your actions because you know that no one else is going to live your life for you. And when you consistently take that responsibility, you build an identity you can be proud of, someone who shows up, someone who delivers, someone who honors their own word. Self-respect isn't about how others treat you. It's about how you treat yourself, and there's no clearer way to show your self-respect than through the practice of daily discipline.